I asked people to inbox me if you had a question about relationships, and I got a couple of them. Again, if you want to mention something, feel free to inbox me. I'll try to see if I can get to it while we're still on the broadcast here. It says, hi, Pastor Cherry. Can you answer this question on live tonight? What does it mean specifically when a man says a woman needs to also bring something to the table? So this woman, basically, somebody inboxed me and they said they want to know what it means when a man says a woman needs to also bring something to the table. If we be honest tonight, there are more available women okay, gotcha. There are more available women that are out there looking for men. There's if you want to say shortage, if you will, of available good men. And we know there's many reasons why. Women live long. Most women live longer than men. Some men are not interested in women. Some men are incarcerated. Some men have just died out because of stress. There's society, drugs. There's so many reasons. And then in terms of men who don't have any of those problems, but they're suffering from not understanding what a good woman is, and they're not ready for a good woman. They're ready for women in general. They're just out for what they can get. And a lot of times it's all about the flesh. And they're caught up in the flesh, and it's hard for them to settle down because there's such an abundance of women out there who are looking for a man. And because there's such an abundance of women out there looking for a man, women are throwing themselves at men. And it takes a strong man who has someone in their life that has some sort of conviction. Kimmer Joe says, I stopped looking. Right. We as a woman, you shouldn't be looking anyway. But I know what you mean. But as a woman, you actually should stop looking. But I understand exactly what you mean. But I believe still in prayer, even though the numbers are skewed and there's more available women than there are men. And like I said, there's even a lesser number of men who are ready to be committed in a relationship. All right. What does it mean specifically when a man says a woman needs to also bring something to the table? There are many good women, and somebody just sent me an inbox message. What is a good woman? What is considered a good woman? I'll have to get back. I will answer that. There are many women out there who are, I guess let me answer it in this context with what I'm getting ready to say. There are many good women out there. A good woman is someone, if you look in Proverbs 31, really talks about what a good woman is. So if you go to Proverbs 31, talks about what a good woman is. But let me just give you a few answers, definitions of a good woman. To me, a good woman is someone who can love one man, who can be faithful to one man, who is ready. When I say a good woman, I'm saying a good woman for a relationship, or a good woman for marriage, okay? So what I'm talking about is, I'm not talking about just a good woman in general, but I'm saying a good woman to marry. There's a difference between a good woman in general and a good woman to marry or to be in a relationship with. She's relationship ready. She knows how to nurture and keep a home, and she has something to bring to a table. So what men are looking for, say what honest, upfront men are looking for, they're looking for a woman who can be a helpmeet. A helpmeet in terms of what Adam needed in the beginning was somebody that could help him with his needs and with his ministry, with whatever Adam's desires were in terms of being able to help him. So bringing something to the table means for a decent man, one, being able to bring a family together, being able to be that rib for that man. Remember, I explained to you about there's 24 ribs in a body, 2 sets of 12, and the first 7 sets are called true ribs. And they actually call true ribs because they're attached to the sternum or to the core. Then there's 5 remaining pairs of ribs at the bottom. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 12. That's it. So there's 7 true ribs. If you look at the skeletal structure of a man or woman, there's 7 pairs of true ribs that are attached to the sternum or to the core. Then at the bottom, their ribs, they like halfway around. Those ribs are called false ribs because they're not attached to the sternum or to the core. And that's why they call those ribs false ribs. You know, 7 is a number of completion. And what makes you a good woman is that to the right man, you're attached to his core. You're not going to be perfect, and I don't even want to say the word perfect, but for everybody, a good match for everybody. There's only certain men who will be the person that you're supposed to be with. There's only a certain man that you're supposed to be with. So to that person, you're going to be a true rib. Remember, if you look at that skeletal structure, there's 7 pairs of true ribs, 5 pairs of false ribs. Depending on if you're a true rib or a false rib, depends on the location where they are on that skeletal structure. So to one man, you could be a number 5, which it's incomplete. You're not a part of that man's core. You ever dated a man? You ever been with a man and you just didn't have that connection? You didn't feel it. You like after a few dates or whatever, after some time and being with the person, you were like, I can't do this. I'm not feeling this guy. He's not. You were a number 5 to that person. But to someone that you love and someone that loves you, you are, like Tamika Tick Ford said, a true rib. You're a number 7. You're complete. 7 is a number completion. So a good woman is going to be a true rib to that particular man. I know that's kind of deep. I didn't even plan on going into that tonight. But that's what a man who's complete in himself is going to be looking for. Someone who can be a helpmeet, can mentally match up with where he is, or can mentally help him in ways that he needs. Or you all can be a blessing to us men. You women can be a blessing to us because God can give you insight as a true rib to help a man. Hi, Jan. I love you, my sister. Tell Howard I said hello and to get on here. So a man is going to be looking for you to bring something to the table. We're in a world now, if you notice, everything financially, everything has gone up. A loaf of bread costs more. Eggs cost more. Everything has gone up and salaries are staying the same. And if you get a raise, it's a 2%, 3%, 4%, 5% raise. The economy, things have just, I don't care what nobody says. So nowadays, it takes 2 people to work. There are some women out there that can find a man who has it going on so much and so well that you don't have to work. That's few and far between. It's rough out here. Everything has gone up. Everything has gone up. And so nowadays, it really takes 2 people to work. And you get with somebody that can't do it, it makes it very rough. So The man is going to be, is looking for somebody who can help meet in many different aspects. Let's see. Tiffany says, what if more women are bringing more to the table financially? Sometimes that happens, and sometimes it's not the fault of the man. One thing is, if you're in a marriage together, the woman as the rib can make a man look better than he's ever been. If you got a man who's really trying, and you know if the man is trying or not, and he loves you, and he's showing you that he loves you, and he appreciates you, but he's not able to make as much as you. Now, again, I'm saying this, and let me just put this out there in terms of a disclaimer. That's what I was looking for. A disclaimer. Let me put this out there. It's up to you. If you want a man that makes more than you and you don't have respect for a man, or you're not going to speak, that's your prerogative. If he has to make more and all of that, that's fine. But there is sometimes it's tough for men, particularly black men. It's tough for a man at times. And I'm not saying get somebody that doesn't have anything, doesn't bring anything to the table. But there are some men out there who are just not, for so many reasons. They've had to start over. They've been divorced. They got child support. A lot of men have to start over, and it's not easy. It's up to you now. It's your choice. But I'm saying that you don't have to take care of a man, but if he loves you, he should, and he has a desire to want to do certain things. Understand that there are times when a man might lose his job. A man might have a record. He might, have done something in the past, and it's hard for him to get a decent job. If you feel compelled, and again, this is on you, and that there's some other good qualities about that man, don't look at him in a negative sense. So he might be able to add some love to your life, and y'all could work it out together. You don't have to. He doesn't necessarily have to make more than you. Again, everybody has their own opinion. I'm just saying that if the two of you, like Jana just says, as long as he can lead the house, if he can lead the house, spiritually, and being an attentive man, loving you, helping you out in different ways. Again, many men have challenges. And that's, again, I'm putting it out there. I'm not going to argue with you, but I'm just saying, just because a man makes less than you, or he loses his job, or he's having a hard time trying to find a job, doesn't mean that he's any less of a man than a man that can just tell you to quit your job and you just stay home and what have you. So don't discount. Don't discount it. But so the question was, a man, what does it mean specifically when a man says a woman needs to also bring something to the table? A man who is bringing something to the table, a lot of men are tired of being used. Many women have used a man even when they're in between. And if some of y'all will be honest tonight, some of you have used men. You weren't really feeling them, but you were reaching in his pockets. Or, just the way society is. If you're trying to get over a previous man, you're home by yourself, and you're like, I just want to go out. And you call a man and he takes you out to dinner, you ain't even really feeling them, or you don't know if you're feeling them, or you're still not over your ex yet. He's going into his pocket and spending money on you. Many men are tired of that, tired of women who've been playing games, because some women play games as well. And they basically do that. They let a man use a man. He's as methadone. He's sort of like the in-between man. And you leaning on him and leaning on him and leaning on him to help you to get over the previous man, or you're hurt and you're not really feeling him, but you're not letting him know that. You're letting him think that there's possibly something can happen. A lot of men are tired of that. They're just They're tired of being used. So they're saying, I want a woman. I have substance. I want a woman of substance. I want a woman who can also bring something to the table. All right. Next question says, thanks for the live sessions. They have been very helpful and enlightening. I thought about something today. I forgave my spouse for infidelity, but I never forgave the other woman. I kept feeling weird about my life and that something still held me. I thought it was the fact that he will not divorce me. However, it came to me that I needed to forgive the other woman and all of the other women, family, friends, co-workers that he slept with. Every time I hear of another, it was binding me because I would forgive him and forget to forgive all. I'm not sure how many other people have experienced this, but today it came to me that I must forgive all of them. I was looking forward to this liberating day. Now, when my mind goes on any of them, seeing them or hearing of them, I will know I will let go of them too. Just sharing this because maybe this could help others. All right, this is a lot to unpack here, and that's a serious thing there. Some of you women may be able to sympathize or realize this. You can actually, while it's hard to forgive across the board, it's easier to forgive someone you love and attach to versus someone you don't love. The person that you love, you're getting something. If you decide to take them back, you're getting something from them. You had a connection with them. You have this soul, this bond with them. These other people, you don't. So, and in terms of, let me mention this. That's why it's easier for you to take someone back, but your family and friends who you talk to about this person, they're still not feeling this person because they don't have that connection. God bless you, Howard. Do you understand what I'm saying? They don't have the connection that you have with this person. So when you kiss and make up with this person, your relatives don't have that connection. They don't have that benefit. So everything that you told your friends and that your family about that person, they might let it go in time, but it's much harder. You have that love. Love hides, y'all not with me? The scripture says love hides a multitude of faults. Your family don't love necessarily, or your friends don't necessarily love or feeling this person like you're feeling them. So even though you've taken them back, like I said, these people over here may not be ready to do that. Just like it goes that way in terms of you accept somebody that's cheated on you, but you're done with these folk. These folk over here that they cheated with, it takes a lot to be able to forgive. And y'all remember I talked about forgiveness. Forgiveness is a beast, but you must find a way. Yeah, Francis Rollins said, I've experienced that. You've got to find a way to forgive. And it's tough when somebody has slept with someone that you're with, but when they're somebody that you're friends with or knows you. A stranger, if it's a stranger, there's really no need. I just need to say this. There's really no need in going up to a stranger and trying to check a stranger. You need to check your man or your woman. You ain't got nothing to say. They're a stranger. They let them in. And I mean, that's on them. I mean, that's on the person that you're seeing. I've seen people jump on complete strangers. Why do you expect a stranger? Sometimes the stranger doesn't even know that they've had somebody, and you go and jump on a stranger. Why do that? But if the person knows you, now we got to have words. If you're my friend or if you're in the church, now we're going to have words because you know me and you slept with the person that you knew I was with. We're going to have words. But if they're a stranger, don't even waste your time. Have y'all seen those movies? Y'all seen enough movies or Cheaters? We've watched episodes of Cheaters. They come and jump on some stranger. But you can't exchange. What are you looking for the stranger for? What are you getting on this? Deal with that Negro, that person that you deal with that person that you're in relationship with. Deal with them. That's where the responsibility lies right there. So it like this person was saying, and I'm glad they brought that up. It is easier to forgive the person that you're with. And I'm on lock. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, somebody interrupted. It's easier to forgive that person, easier than it is to forgive the person that they've been sleeping and carrying on with. So that I do agree with that. And that's something that needs to be dealt with. All right, next thing somebody wrote, said, "Hi, Pastor. To try to give some input to your question regarding a woman's struggle dealing with past relationships, I believe part of it is just plain fear. Fear of change. Fear of having to be vulnerable with someone new and starting all over. Fear of being alone, which I call half a man syndrome. It stems from half a man or a part of a man is better than no man at all. I also feel that men that deal in dirt, as you referred to the other night, or are dirty men, wreak total havoc on a woman mentally, emotionally, and even physically. We not only can lose who we are, but it's like we never had an identity or self-awareness, so we certainly don't know how to go about getting it back." This is really good here, whoever wrote this. "Some of our cuts are so deep that we have totally bled out and don't even realize it. Really tragic for all concerned. Looking forward to what the Lord gives you regarding to what you have to say this evening." All right, let's see if we can unpack this a little at a time. Let's see, a woman's struggle, past relationships. There is a lot of fear out there, especially when you've been hurt. I had mentioned in Bible study last night that we've got to learn to forgive. But also, somebody had asked in Bible study, should I, what the Bible says about forgiving 70 times 7 and forgiving someone over and over again. There's a difference between forgiving and, you ever seen boxers in the boxing ring? They learn how to block. There's a difference between forgiving and learning how to block. You've got to learn how to block to keep yourself from being hit again. And that's a difficult thing. It takes skill to learn how to block. It takes skill to know when a punch is coming. It takes skill to know when you're in danger of being used. And it's so rough because after you've been hurt, if somebody's been hit in the eye, whenever they see anything coming that way, they flinch, even when it's not intended to hit. You're just torn up inside. And I know some of you can relate with that. You've got to learn how to be able to block. And somebody just said how to block. How do I block? You block in many ways. Start developing an even closer some relationship with the Lord. I don't know if I can express that enough. Okay. Because the closer you get to God, the more you're going to learn. Things that you think you already know, you don't know. Or you can learn more. The closer you get to God, the more he's going to teach you. The more he's going to tell. It's like a father. Many of you women may have been without the advice of a father, may not have had a father figure, or your father really didn't explain everything to you regarding dating. Your heavenly Father, the closer you get to him, the more he's going to share with you. Next thing is going to be being healed. You've got to be healed before you can move on. If you're not healed before you can move on, you're going to be vulnerable to even more mistakes. And vulnerable by saying yes to some jacked up stuff. Many of you can say, you know what, Pastor Cherry, I've been vulnerable. I didn't see it for what it was at the time, but this person really was just there to use me. All right. Other part, they said fear of change, fear of having to be vulnerable with someone new. That and that vulnerability is there for all of us because you're taking a chance whenever you have somebody new in your life, because you don't know when they're pretending, when they're going to flick this switch and become a totally different person. If they're out for something, one or two things from you, and a lot of times they can really fake the game until they get what they want, and they can wait you out. Because as I've said over and over again, those that are out there are out there. They've got 5, 6 different men, 5, 6 different women, and they just wait for your turn, wait for you to give in, and they just keep you in that rotation until you give in, and then you sign. So there's a lot there. She mentioned about this half a man syndrome. Many of you, because of your desperate need, because you become desperate and wanting to be with somebody, wanting to have someone in your life, you end up being with a half a man or a half a woman, a person who really is just not there, not good for you at all. And but you end up settling, and then you find out later on that it's just not going to work. She said it stems from a half a man or a part of a man is better than no man at all. I also feel that men are dealing in dirt and they're wreaking havoc on women mentally, emotionally, and physically. I've got to warn you, I know this is easier said than done, but I need this to be in your spirit as you go forward. Let me see if I can give you an analogy that will help you here. Let me see if I can. If you're on a bike, have you ever been on a 10-speed before, and you had it on an easier gear, and it was almost like the bike is moving at a faster pace, and where you would pedal, almost like if you were the bike is going so fast, if you try to pedal, you're not catching up to, you're still not caught up to where you're really moving anything because it's moving so fast. I hope you understand what I'm saying. That's going to affect your ability to ride. But if you're that's it, Smiley Sharon. If you're caught up to it, I think you got it. Many of you can feel that every time you engage, you're actually providing momentum, and you're moving along with the speed of the bike. Lord, I thank you. I hope y'all got that. But if you over pedal, if you're going too fast, it's going to take a minute before you're actually you're just wasting time. You just and exerting energy that you really don't have. The downhill effect. Brilliant. That's brilliant, Jana. That's it. The downhill effect. I'm saying all that to say, you women do it, we men do it. We get so excited about what we think the person is. What we think, we overpedal. And when you overpedal, you're moving ahead of what the bike is at the movement and what it's actually doing. And every time you do that, you're waiting for the bike to catch up so you can, and while you're waiting for the bike that, you know what I'm saying, for it to catch up, you are often placing yourself at a disadvantage. And the disadvantage is this. You're not willing to stop pedaling. Oh, I don't know if y'all got it. You're not willing to stop pedaling because you've gotten so far ahead. You don't understand how the 10-speed works. Okay? Don't get too far ahead of yourself. Y'all understand what I'm saying? If you get too far ahead of yourself, you're committed to the ride. A lot of times you overcommit yourself to the ride. You overcommit yourself to the ride. So I'm saying, Alicia put it, don't go chasing waterfalls. There are times when you are so far ahead of the relationship that you're not seeing the reality that you need to be still. You need to be still for a moment. You're overworking it. And you're overworking it. Okay, so that's a big problem for many people. You meet somebody, everybody's fantastic. You're gonna meet some nuts. You're gonna meet some people you're not feeling right away. But somebody that you're feeling, somebody that just gives you those goosebumps, somebody that just gives you all of that you're feeling, you're like, oh man, this person. Many times you overpedal because you're so excited. You understand what I'm saying? That you get too far ahead of what the bike actually should be doing. We've all done it. When you start daydreaming and thinking about how awesome this person is, a lot of times you set yourself up for a world of hurt. You've got to be willing and keep that ride so steady that as soon as you see some problems, you look at it for what it is. You got to be willing to let it go. Y'all not. You've got to be willing to stop pedaling. You got to be willing to stop the bike. You've got to be willing. Overexerting yourself. You can overexert yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can overexert yourself and hurt yourself. We do that in relationships when we go too far ahead of what the relationship actually is. Soon as you see these things happen, you've got to be willing to slow your roll and see it for what it really is. How many of us have pushed on beyond when we saw stuff going wrong? We were looking at what we thought, this person's just so awesome. I got to hang in there. It'll all smooth out after a while. It'll all smooth out. Everything will be fine. The bike will catch up with the actual ride, momentum going downhill. All that, it'll catch up. Rocky Brown said guilty. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about tonight. It is so important. Tiffany Murphy said me. It is so important that you understand that analogy for what it is and use it. You've got to be willing. As soon as you see something that you know is not right, you got to be willing to let it go. But if you daydream and get ahead of it, the relationship, you're going to look at those things up ahead that you've been daydreaming, that the bike has never, that you being on the bike has never gotten to that destination yet. But you're so excited over the now that and over what now and over what you think at the destination, that you're forgetting that you're not looking at what's right in front of you. I hope that helps you. All right. Someone said how to move forward and how to let go. All right. How do you move forward and how do you let go? Let go before you move forward. That's how. You get that? Let go before you move forward. That means taking a break. That means getting yourself together, as a person. Whatever it's going to take to make you feel good as a person and whole as a person. You're going to have to separate yourself from the person. Smiley Sharon says time is a healer. And time does help you to be healed. But if you've got to do something in order for time to heal. There's people who have been in love with somebody for 11 years. They married. And you still go back and sleep with them. From whenever that other person calls them, whenever they want them. They've had time, but it didn't heal them. Because they didn't put nothing, they didn't put what they needed into it. You've got to, time is, if you do nothing with it, it's just time gone by. But you can still be caught up if you don't do anything with that time. How do you move forward? You move forward by letting go. How do you let go? Jana Cameron just says you're going to have to refocus. You're going to have to change your life. You're going to have to change your patterns, change some things about you. Maybe go back to school. Maybe, do some different things. You're going to have to change and switch things up a little bit. Change your scenery. Some of the things that you were used to doing with them and, change all that up. You're going to have to really put some work in order to be free from this person. But never go to someone else to try to get over another person. That's not going to help in the long run. Why isn't it going to help? Oh, it's good to lean on somebody and let them bleed and just lean on them and lay on them and lean on them and wear them out. But the problem is while you're leaning, and it feels good too sometimes, to be honest. If you're still caught up on someone, you meet a new person and you lean and fall all over them and you sleep with them and you get that soul tie going, all of that. You get all that going. All that starts happening. It may feel good to be able to get that stuff off of you. But the problem is this person may have some stuff with them so that you don't see because you're so busy trying to expel the hurts and stuff of the past that you don't see what you need to see in this new person. And by the time they help you to get over that other person, now you're in a mess with this person. You see how that works? All right, let me check my inbox. We've got 10 minutes here and see what else has come forward. All right, just got another one here. Is it wrong to remove yourself from a toxic relationship with your mother? Wow, this is good. Is it wrong to remove yourself from a toxic relationship with your mother? I would say a toxic relationship with anybody, you're going to have to learn to remove yourself in order to keep your sanity. Pray. You can still love the person. There's some relatives that I have, and I'm sure many of you can attest tonight, that you can love from a distance. Because if you're up under them, they will wear you out. And if you're worn out, you can't be any good to yourself or to anybody else, to your children or to anybody else. So you're going to have to learn to love but to be with these people in spurts, just remove yourself. If Janice said family can be the worst. Love them from afar. Mary Perry Howell, glad to see you. Glad you're here. Smiley Sharon said I had to remove myself years ago. So it's not wrong. You just have to make sure that you have forgiven them. That's one of the things. When I said there's a difference between forgiving and, like a boxer does, you've got to learn how to block. There's a difference. There's no harm in learning how to block in a fight to keep yourself from getting hit. And there's ways that you can do that. You must protect yourself. When you're in a fight, in this is warfare here. Life is a spiritual battle. And the enemy will send whoever he can to steal, kill, and destroy. You're going to have to learn how to block to keep from being hit. If you get hit enough, even in the sport of boxing, you're going to get knocked out. If you're knocked out, you lose the fight. So you must learn how to protect yourself from even your loved ones. Protect yourself from those who mean you no good. Learn how to protect yourself. Nicole, the topic is tonight, ask DC a question about relationships. All right, so our next question is, and I think I answered that, what do men qualify as a good woman? And this question came from somebody from Panama, so we're glad that they're watching tonight. It all depends on the man that you're asking. It all depends on what the man is looking for. And to some men, no women are good women because of the way they've been raised. That's so sad to say. But you could flip. You could do black flips. You can give them everything you have, give them your body, your money, your time, your love, and none of them will consider you a good woman because they don't know what a good woman is. But I say that a good woman is a godly woman. A good woman is a woman who loves me for me. I'm not perfect by no stretch of the imagination. And me understanding that I'm not perfect, that I can be a mess at times, that I can be hard to deal with, a woman who can look past all of that and love me for me and not try to destroy me, I consider them to be a good woman. A woman who loves God, that's a good woman. A woman who's virtuous, as Jana said, that's a good woman. A woman who knows how to not emasculate me as a man. That is so important. That's what I'm saying. Women, if you want to be in a relationship, you got to make sure, we talked in the beginning about making sure that you have to bring some things to the table. You want to be in a relationship, you got to ask yourself, why do I want to be in a relationship? Other than just being with somebody. Other than just wanting to be loved and wanting to feel loved. Other than to have children. Why do I want to be in a relationship? And then start looking at what you have to offer or what you're willing to offer. Not just words, but really meaning it. Now, I know this goes to the man as well, but I'm talking to the women for a minute. But once you realize, I'm asking you to do this, make your list. Once you look at your list and write it down, what you have to offer, that's going to help you better select the man. Because when I go to purchase a car, how I walk up in there is going to be dependent upon my financial portfolio. How I deal with the salesperson, specifically when I'm dealing with a used car, because it's such a larger market to make a better deal with used cars. What am I bringing to the table? is my credit in the 800s? You know, I mean, where am I at? You know, 700s, whatever the top score. I ain't nowhere near it. So, but what do I have to offer? And if I've got a good job, money coming in, doing well, all of that kind of stuff, when I get to the salesman, I've got all this in my mind. I know my credit score. I know that I've got it going. I don't have to beg. I don't have to go to that secondary, credit thing they do with the high interest rate, Joe's Car Shack, where, buy here, pay here. I know I don't have to do any of that. I know I got it going on. I know what I have to offer. That's going to help me in how I deal with the other person. So knowing what you have to bring to the table is going to help you in terms of how you pick someone. You've got to keep in mind what you have to offer. If you don't know what you have to offer, you ain't ready to see anybody yet. You need to figure out what it is that you have to offer. All right, let's go back to my inbox. This is good, y'all. We got a couple more minutes. My sister has been seeing this person for 12 years. No commitment on his part. I have told her in a loving way, he does not love you. And if he hasn't committed himself by now, he won't. I even told her she has wasted 12 years of her life. Am I wrong as a sister? No, you're not wrong at all. You're not wrong at all. You've actually are helping her by saying something to her, even if she doesn't admit it or doesn't see it. That's a tough thing, and many women are in relationships like that, where the man will not commit. A lot of times they're not committing. They've got other people that they're seeing. And as long as you continue to keep yourself in the mix, they're going to continue to use you. They're sleeping with you, and you're just in that rotation. You've allowed yourself. And there's some women that are watching tonight. You may not have been with the man for 12 years, but you know this man don't. You can't get him off the couch to do anything more than what he's been doing. You already know that, and you know that. But again, you're addicted to the sex. You're addicted. You love him. You're addicted to being with him. You've got that soul tie thing going on, but it's jacked up. Y'all get together. You know what it's going to be about. He'll watch a movie or two with you. He might take you out to the movies every now and then. Y'all might go grab something to eat every now and then. But this guy, it ain't going nowhere than that. You don't want to lose him. So you're continuously being in this cycle. And but you're not wrong in telling your sister that. And we'll just have to keep her in prayer. And sometimes people will find out after a while. Sometimes they never find out. But if she doesn't pull herself out of this relationship, it's not going to change. Sometimes a man who will use and abuse you and take you for granted, the day that you decide to stand up, that's when they find out that they really loved you. And some of them will change and realize. But if you do not make a move to change things, they're going to keep things just like they are. Let me share something with you about us men as we get ready to sign off. Men have patterns. We all have patterns, but men specifically have patterns. And once we work ourselves into a pattern, we don't want that pattern disturbed. We can be in a house where we don't speak to the person. We're not sleeping with the person. We don't love the person, but we don't want anything to change. We don't want our finances to change. We don't want to move out the house. We got our thing outside the house, but we don't want our surroundings to change. So as long as you don't do anything about it, we'll ride it right on out. And if you want to ride that out, life is short. If you want to ride your life out like that, if you want to go in, what I mean by going in is leave this earth. You want to go in like that. You know, live your whole life like that, unhappy, and go in where, you know, God takes you off this earth with that situation never changing. That's exactly what it'll be. Year after year after year. As long as you don't stand up, and you stand up by taking yourself out of it. You stand up by stop pedaling on that bike. You hear me? You stand up by letting them know I can get myself, I can be strong enough to be without you because I don't have you as it is. You're not with me. See, you think because somebody's laying down with you, or somebody says I love you every now and then, or somebody's in your presence that they love you, or that you have them. You don't. They may love you in their own word, in their own way, but you don't have them. There are some people that you don't have. You do not have them, and you've got to be realistic tonight and say. Edwin says can't put every man in that category. I'm not doing that, Doc. I'm not putting every man in the category. I'm talking in general to certain men who act a certain way. That's how I flow, okay? So I'm not putting every man. We don't need you to defend every man. I'm not talking about every man. So anyway, I've lost my point, but that's in the gist of that's what I was saying. So when I talk, I'm talking in general. I'm not beating up men. I'm a man myself. Thanks, Edwin, for understanding where I was saying. I'm a man myself, but I'm talking about men who act a certain way. All right, and there are some women out there as well who they're just not ready. So that's the deal on that. Thank you, Edwin, for understanding. I might have misunderstood what you were saying there, but as a sister, I would say the same thing to her. She's probably not going to listen. She's probably not going to listen. She's going to continue to be in that bad relationship there, and it's just sometimes it takes something traumatic, which I really hate that. All right, is there anything else, real quickly, that I can answer for you before we let you go? And y'all continue to talk. I see that y'all are saying some good stuff here to each other. And, all right, I guess that's it. All right, if there's anything else, feel free to inbox me, and I will, the next time that we come on, I'll try to address that. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for tonight. I've asked DC a question about relationships. I pray that you all can put this into action. I pray that there was something tonight that we gave you. I thank you all, Rob. I thank you all for being with us tonight, and I really appreciate you all being with us. It means a lot that you're here. I pray that you got something. Edwin, thanks again, man, for being with us. Again, I apologize for taking that the wrong way in the beginning there. I just I've been beat up so much over the years for thinking that I'm trying to beat up on men. I'm like, whoa, no, I'm not trying to beat up on anybody. Yeah, just inbox me on, if you should be able to inbox me on Facebook. And if you don't have Messenger, you can email me at minister at darrylcherry.com. That's DARRYLCHERRY. Minister at darrylcherry.com. Just email me, and I can anonymously address what your question. I love you all. God bless you. Join me again. Let's do this again. I think next Thursday at 10. Let's do this again. Jana, love you all. I love you all, and I thank you so much for being with me. Good night.